In Lisbon, a city renowned for its historic charm and iconic yellow streetcars, a devastating tragedy has unfolded. On the evening of Wednesday, September 3, 2025, the Elevador de Gloria funicular, packed with tourists and locals, derailed and crashed, leaving a trail of devastation. As the city grieves, the identities of the 16 people who lost their lives are being confirmed, revealing a truly international group of victims and sending ripples of sorrow across the globe. The incident occurred on the popular Elevador de Gloria line, a landmark in Lisbon that has been in service since 1914. This funicular, a type of cable railway, carries millions of people each year up one of the city's steep hills. But on this evening, something went horribly wrong. The car suddenly hurtled down the steep incline, derailing and crashing into a building at the bottom. The impact was catastrophic. Portugal's Prime Minister, Luís Montenegro, described it as one of the biggest tragedies in our recent history. In the immediate aftermath, emergency services rushed to the scene. The focus was on rescuing the injured and securing the area. But as the hours passed, the grim reality of the death toll became clear. 16 people lost their lives in the crash. Another 21 were injured, with 5 of them remaining in serious condition in hospital. As authorities began the difficult process of identifying the victims, the international scope of the tragedy became apparent. The dead included 5 Portuguese citizens, 3 British citizens, 2 South Korean citizens, and 2 Canadian citizens. Also among the deceased were 1 American, 1 Ukrainian, 1 Swiss, and 1 French citizen. The injured also represented a wide range of nationalities, including Spanish, Israeli, Portuguese, Brazilian, Italian, French, and at least 3 German citizens. There was a moment of confusion when a German citizen was initially reported among the dead, but they were later found alive in a hospital, a small piece of good news amidst the overwhelming grief. With the wreckage of the funicular car now removed for detailed examination, the search for answers is underway. Investigators are focused on determining the cause of this disaster. Sabotage has been ruled out, shifting the focus to potential mechanical failures or issues with maintenance. A preliminary report from the government's Office for Air and Rail Accident Investigations is expected soon, with a more detailed police report anticipated within 45 days. Conflicting accounts have emerged regarding the state of the funicular's maintenance. The public transport company, Caris, which operates the line, has stated that all maintenance protocols were followed. They reported that the vehicle had undergone a full maintenance program last year and that it receives daily 30-minute visual inspections. The last such inspection had been conducted just hours before the crash. However, a transport union leader has raised concerns. He stated that workers had previously complained about problems with the tension of the haulage cable, which they said made braking difficult. These conflicting statements will be a key focus for investigators as they work to piece together the events that led to the crash. The response from both Portuguese and international leaders has been one of shock and sorrow. Portugal's Prime Minister, Luís Montenegro, has promised a quick investigation to establish what had gone wrong and to determine all responsibilities. Lisbon's mayor, Carlos Modas, echoed this sentiment, stating that the city needs answers. The international community has also expressed its condolences. The office of the UK Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, said he was deeply saddened by the deaths of the 3 British citizens and that the UK stands united with Portugal during this difficult time. In Portugal, a day of national mourning was held. A solemn mass was attended by hundreds of people, including the country's president and prime minister, as the nation came together to remember the victims of this terrible accident. The Elevador de Gloria is more than just a mode of transport. It is a piece of Lisbon's history. The funicular line has been in service since 1914, and its two cars, attached to a cable and powered by electric motors, are a familiar sight on the city's streets. Each car can hold about 40 people, and the line is a major attraction, beloved by the approximately 3 million tourists and residents who ride it every year. This long and storied history makes the tragedy even more poignant for the people of Lisbon. As the investigation continues, many questions remain. The families of the victims, from Portugal and from around the world, will be waiting for answers. The city of Lisbon, a popular destination for travelers from all corners of the globe, is in mourning. This disaster has not only claimed the lives of 16 people, but has also shaken a city and a nation, raising serious questions about the safety of its historic and much-loved transport system. The world watches and waits, hoping for clarity and for measures to be put in place to ensure such a tragedy never happens again.
In Texas, a months-long fight over hemp-derived THC products has ended not with new restrictions, but with a collective sigh of relief from retailers. Lawmakers once again failed to pass a ban, so items like Delta-8 gummies, oils, and seltzers remain on shelves statewide. The drama stretched through the regular session and 2 special sessions at the Capitol. Competing bills would have either outlawed or sharply limited the products, yet none cleared both chambers. That means consumable hemp items are still legal in Texas, and the state still has no formal age limit on who can buy them. 2 starkly different philosophies collided: prohibition versus regulation. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick led the push for an outright ban. Senate Bills 5 and 6, which the Senate passed repeatedly, would have outlawed any consumable hemp product containing detectable THC. Patrick calls the products dangerous, untested, and a loophole in state law, and he says his stance for total prohibition is unchanged. Governor Abbott, by contrast, prefers regulation. Earlier this year, he vetoed a similar blanket ban, signaling he would rather treat hemp THC like alcohol, keep it legal, restrict sales to adults 21 and older, and require testing, licensing, and clear labels. The House was the roadblock. Each time the Senate's ban arrived, support evaporated in the lower chamber. A more modest House proposal, Bill 36, simply set a 21 and up rule, but never even got a hearing. For the roughly $5.5 to $8 billion Texas hemp market, the stalemate is a lifeline. Tens of thousands of jobs, from farmers and extractors to retail clerks, depend on these sales. Many business owners say they would welcome what they call common sense rules: age checks, potency caps, and third-party lab tests. What they fear is uncertainty. Every new session feels like a potential shutdown. Advocates outside the industry share a mixed reaction. They're relieved the shelves aren't empty, yet frustrated that consumer protections, especially a statewide age limit, remain voluntary. In their view, the all-or-nothing stance from some leaders keeps Texas stuck in neutral, while neighboring states move ahead with clear guidelines. So what happens now? In the short term, nothing changes. Hemp-derived THC products are legal to buy, sell, and possess. Without a statewide mandate, most retailers voluntarily card anyone under 21, mirroring tobacco sales. Some post signage, others scan IDs, but the policy is self-policed. One important caveat: this stalemate is separate from a new law that recently took effect banning most disposable nicotine vape devices and all THC-infused vapes. The rule targets delivery systems, not the hemp products themselves, which adds another layer of complexity for shop owners trying to stay compliant. Looking ahead, expect this fight to return. The governor and lieutenant governor remain far apart, and another special session or the next regular session could open up the debate. Until then, retailers keep their doors open, customers keep shopping, and an entire industry watches the Capitol, aware that a single vote could overturn the fragile status quo.
The August jobs report delivers a sobering snapshot of the U.S. labor market, and it arrives under unusual political pressure. It is the first set of employment numbers released since President Donald Trump dismissed Bureau of Labor Statistics Commissioner Erica McEnteffer last month. Headline figures first. Employers added just 22,000 jobs in August, barely a third of what forecasters expected. The unemployment rate edged up to 4.3%, its highest level since 2021. For context, the economy was creating an average of 168,000 positions a month last year. Over the past 3 months, that average has slumped to 29,000. Revisions deepened the disappointment. June's estimate was flipped from a modest gain to a loss of 13,000 jobs, the first monthly decline since 2020. Taken together, the data signal that the long-anticipated labor market cool-down has arrived and may be accelerating. Why the slowdown? Economists cite 3 main forces. Policy uncertainty. Businesses remain wary of the administration's evolving tariff strategy, which raises costs on imported goods and clouds investment plans. High borrowing costs. Interest rates, kept elevated to cool post-pandemic inflation, make it more expensive for companies to expand and hire. Shrinking government payrolls. Washington cut 15,000 positions in August and 97,000 since January, with more reductions signaled for the fall. The political backdrop is hard to ignore. After July's lackluster report, the president accused the BLS of publishing rigged numbers and removed its commissioner. The weaker August figures were produced under interim leadership, stoking concerns among economists that future data could face undue political pressure. Before this release, the White House attempted to downplay its significance, saying real numbers would be visible a year from now. Industry detail underscores how broad the cooling has become. Manufacturing shed 12,000 jobs in August and 78,000 over the past year. Construction, wholesale trade, and the energy sector all lost ground. Healthcare remained a bright spot, adding 31,000 positions, while social assistance posted a modest gain. There are a few silver linings. The uptick in unemployment was driven in part by more people coming off the sidelines. The labor force participation rate for prime-age workers rose again. Companies are holding on to existing employees. Layoffs have not spiked. Still, job seekers are feeling the strain. Nearly 1.9 million people have been out of work for 27 weeks or longer, an increase of almost 400,000 over the past year. Wage growth, once a pillar of consumer spending, has slowed to its weakest pace in 13 months. Market watchers now assume the Federal Reserve will cut interest rates at its September meeting. A clear softening in hiring gives policymakers cover to provide support, but it also raises the specter of a broader downturn. If paychecks grow more slowly and job hunting takes longer, household spending, the main engine of U.S. growth, could sputter. To sum up, August's employment report shows a labor market losing momentum just as its statistical guardians come under political fire. Whether this is a temporary pause or the start of a deeper slide will become clearer in the next few months. But for now, the message is unmistakable. Hiring has hit the brakes.